all the databases. So, don't be afraid to say, no, go to the courthouse. The courthouse, it's a full disclosure state. You want to know this market, you go research it, you pay the price. We've all done it. And, I know you want to get the deal done, and it might blow it off a few days if you blow them off, but then they'll know that they're not necessarily unwelcome here. They just need to be qualified and involved with the community enough to pay the price to be here.
Can we make the criteria, though, that they're a member of the board?
You probably can't make that criteria, but by making it difficult for them, you're going to drive them out. And you talk to that lender in particular and say, we don't want guys that aren't part of our association or aren't involved with the community enough to be members of the board to get the proper data, because that's our lifeblood. I don't know how they do that. I mean, when we get asked to do places that we're not a member, we just beg it away and refer it off. It's not worth our time. But because of the resort community, everybody wants to come up and ski for the day and say, yeah, I'll take that job. So they're coming up, they're skiing for half a day, coming up and seeing you guys and saying, hey, give me all the data you got. Oh, by the way, can you email me some pictures? Oh, can you drive my comps for me? And you guys say, well, now I've done 75% of it. So, give me the rest of that fee. So it's a tough call, but it might hold up a deal. But that's where you have to step in and say, hey, I don't want to be involved with it. You do your job, I'll do mine.
How much is this adding to the buyer's price for appraisals now, this extra layer?
There's no telling. She asked, how much does this add to the cost of a loan and to the buyer? And it's unfortunate. For years we've worked with these AMC companies for lenders from all over the nation that don't have direct contacts for appraisers in the area. And what it came down to is they contract with us, and a good example is Wells Fargo. Huge company. They have their credit risk division that orders appraisals called RELS. Well, we have a set contract with them. We can't discuss fees with the client, but typically they'll call back and say, why did you charge me $500 for that appraisal? And I said, well, I can guarantee you I didn't charge that much. But they always charge extra for it. So this whole thing, giving this layer of protection in between the lender and the appraisers, is just going to cost more in the long run and delay the process.
We've seen essentially about a across the board $25 increase everywhere for the 1004 MC, which is an additional form that's being required by everybody that I think Mike is going to touch on in a minute. But one other thing that I wanted to mention, where relationships in a community such as ours between mortgage brokers and appraisers and realtors and appraisers, where that can still stand is on FHA work, VA work. Not that anyone's doing any VA work anymore. Like Bob had said, any type of just value inquiry stuff, divorce, things like that. There's no change. The changes we're talking about are conventional loans that are subject to being purchased by Fannie and Freddie on the secondary market. That's really where this is. So not all the relationships are down. Yeah.
Bob says that we can tell the lender that we want to have a local appraiser, but are they really going to listen to us? We can't dictate who they have specifically. I'm not sure that we actually have the clout to say you have to use a local appraiser.
That lender has to make the decision on what AMC they're going to use, if they're going to have their own credit risk department, basically what firewall they're going to use. And that firewall may have a better group of appraisers or a better relationship with local appraisers. I hear what you're saying, but it's still important for the lender to hear that, especially if you've got something to complain about. This is I go back to what I said earlier. We need to be patient because in time, I think this will get the goal that it wanted. But at first, it's going to be it's going to be a bit chaotic. So.
Okay. Maybe we can put this next question for Mike. We'll move on. And I know there are lots of questions, and there might be time at the end to pick those up.
Use the mic.
Only if I can answer.
We wanted to ask how the current market is affecting appraisal values here, both here in Summit County and in Park County, if you know.
Okay, I don't cover Park County, so Bob's going to have to answer that one. How the current market, I thought about this one, and this is the one that I didn't want to address because I think it's, the market, I'm not sure which one drives the other, I guess is the answer that I have. I think, the appraised values are a reflection of the current market. We don't drive the current market. I think that's a falsehood that I've heard in the past that, appraisers set the market, and I think that gives us a little too much credit.
Realtors do, don't worry.
Okay. So we can give you guys all the credit because I don't drive the market. Bob and Bill don't drive the market. We just reflect the market. So there you have it. What's happening to values? I mean, I think we all know that things are trending downwards, and some segments more so than others. The data is available more readily in some segments as opposed to others, and so it's a little bit hard to track in some areas, either price points or property types or geographic areas. That's my answer to the question. I want to hit on two things. One is that, the realtor is referring or requiring or suggesting. I think, the bottom line is the part of the HVCC, the goal of it is to take the influence of various parties, realtors included, out of the selection process for appraisers. Hence Bob's comment about not recommending anybody specifically. I'm sure these guys have run into it in the past, but I've been told by people that, if you as a homeowner or even a realtor probably call and say, we want you to use a certain appraiser, you're basically not going to get that job, that appraisal job. So I think you really have to be careful about how you ask the appraisal be done by a certain person. I think Bob's suggestion was suggesting that it be done by a local appraiser is going to be the only way that you have some influence. But again, the whole goal of the HVCC is to remove outside influences from the process. So I don't think you're going to drive that process too much. I think the suggestion that you not basically do somebody else's job is going to be your most effective way of making sure that the people who are able to do their job by themselves, that is the local appraiser, is going to be how you're going to eventually kind of force the hand, if you will, of the HVCC or the AMCs to use local appraisers. There is a geographic related competency provision to the rules that we have to follow. In other words, if we're not competent in certain respects, one of them being geography or knowing a market area, that is reason enough to eventually, if somebody takes the issue far enough, to have us hauled in front of our, used to be a former Assistant Attorney General, but Erin Toll, we all know her name. So we can't lose our license if we're not competent in a variety of areas, one of them being knowing our market area or its geography.
As far as, I'm sorry, you had a question?